We'll start with something very basic. I failed in my 12th standard. And life changed for me. You know, the pain of still being in uniform while others are wearing colored clothes and going to college, that pain I've been through. So it was maths and chemistry. And it's interesting that my father was a chemist in Libya. And I come from a Tamil Brahmin community which is known for its maths, you know, Ramanujam and all of them. And I had very well happily been chosen by destiny to fail my family. This is what had happened. 2 subjects which were my family's subjects, I had flunked. Now, what did I do? But first, the pain of not making it, I had to savor it. That's when I realized that I had some artistic sensibilities within me. To drown my pain of not clearing it, I used to go to the terrace, and not on the terrace, I used to go out to the tank of the terrace, sit there and listen to sad songs. My mother though told me, thanks for my mother, she said, go and do all that, but don't jump. Which I didn't. Okay. So my dad was in Libya. He wrote me a letter that I still hold dear. He said, don't worry, you're a sweet girl. Gentle and domesticated. Study well and pass next year. Your youngest aunt failed too. Look how happy she is in her marriage. And a woman needs to be soft, amicable, and domesticated. I felt like an animal tied to the backyard of your house. The one with pretty bells that keep moving, as if nodding at yes at everything. Or I was a project to be managed. So Operation Manju began with great love and care. The family wanted me to clear the exam. So I sent to my uncle's house in Chennai and made to study there. The next exam was October that I had to clear. So I studied there, they readied me, and all of that happened. And then second trial, I came back, wore my uniform again, did the exam in Baroda, went back to Chennai. And then my father calls one day and says, you've cleared October, this is October. You've cleared chemistry, but maths you still have not. So now I have to do maths again. But the good thing was parabola, hyperbola, ellipses, and second degree curves. I remember these 4 chapters. They helped me clear. And that is why I cleared the finishing line. And then, perched on the same water tank, I used to listen to happy songs. This time I was singing too, loudly. Because now I could wear colored clothes and go to college, which I couldn't do otherwise. Now, the first decision of my life happened when all of them came together and said, okay, what are you going to study now? I said, I'll do my BA, the Bachelor's in Arts in English Literature. And I come from Gujarat, so a lot of people say BAs and MAs are bars and Mars. If you're familiar with Ekta Kapoor serials, you know what I mean, right? So that is the only degree for them. So why are you taking my arts? I said, I have decided to take literature. And then I had to prove myself. Once you take something and stand up against the family and say, okay, literature it is for me. I fell in love with literature in college. It was beautiful. Keats, Shelley, Anantamurthy all fought with each other and came up with a symphony that I really loved. And I topped my graduation with a gold medal. So that was done, out of the way. Proved myself. Then comes masters. But in my masters, now before that I'd like to tell you something. The domino effect triggers different things in different people. For me, it was waking up and smelling the coffee and doing something about it. Upscaling myself. And more than that, quietening the doubt that you have in your mind and listen to the crystal clear voice of your soul, which is either muffled or gagged by your own self-doubt or people's impressions of you. And that has stayed a lesson for me all my life. Let the inner compass of your life guide you to your destination. Silence the noises that try to put your fire out. Focus on that one feeble noise that tells you can do it. Magnify it, manifest it, and intend it to life. That's my learning. Now comes part 2 of my life. Masters happened, and now an arranged match was arranged for me. Okay. The horoscope matched because I come from a traditional family. And the boy's parents first came to see me to check out whether the son can come to see me for the second. It was a test. Okay. A storm raged in my head, but I kept quiet. The mother and the father came and they looked from different sofas looking at me. Like they wanted to look at me. And I told my parents that I'll not wear a sari and I'll not sing a song. Don't let me do these things. And then my mother's friend comes and tells me, you might have to do both because the boy is very good looking and you are not that good looking. I said, okay. I felt its esteem had already gone. It had nosedived already. Okay, now then the boy comes. And then the proverbial question, you can go to the terrace and speak to him for 10 minutes. But before this, let me tell you, I'd said yes to the boy. Because there was no point in seeing a man for 10 minutes and then saying yes. So before seeing him, I'd said yes. And they all thought it was such a good girl. In fact, for me, it was like, get on with it. Let it get over. But we went to the terrace. He spoke to me. And the funny thing was, he asked me this question. That I'm looking for a girl who will get up at 12 in the night if I want to, and want to have ice cream, she should come and be ready to go out with me. This was his idea of marriage. So I asked him one question. How much do you earn? And that was, you know how it was, annoying for him. And then, of course, it didn't work out. But that one incident for me was my second decision of my life. I decided I will never go through this again. And that war I fought with my parents. It was a painful war. For the next 7 years, I did not see another match arranged by them. So the second thing that I learned from my life, take your life decisions on your own. You might fail, you might pass, but it will be still your own. You own it up. Okay. And then we'll go ahead. Okay. And meanwhile, what was happening was my tryst, I started working for an NGO. And this is during my master's. I worked with the denotified tribes, who were once called the criminal tribes and were persecuted a lot because of a prejudice law by the British. And I worked a lot with the denotified tribes from different parts of the world, different parts of India. 6 crores of them. You will know more about them if you Google them and know about them. It's about, we have little time, so I can't go into details about this. But yes, I was doing my MPhil and I was also working for denotified tribes. We also did the first denotified tribal convention in Ahmedabad, where tribes met each other for the first time. And what I learned from them was amazing. They were pickpockets turned writers. An entire tribe of pickpockets turned writers. They were the Chara community in Ahmedabad who used to brew liquor with the police. Sorry, I shouldn't be saying it in front of a police officer. But there was a lot of happenings in the system which had to be corrected, which my NGO helped in doing so. Also, around the same time, my father passed away. It was the most tragic moment of my life. And when I think of him also, the fact that a lot of it triggered. And before he passed away, I had started freelancing. I had started writing for the Times of India. My first article was read out to him because he couldn't see. And with the second article, I was fanning flies off his dead body. So that is my association with him, because he wanted me to be writing. And this is what happened then. But very interestingly, the third incident happened in my life was when he passed away, the second day of his death. I get a call from the Times of India, Ahmedabad. Now, Baroda and Ahmedabad are 2 hours away. Ahmedabad calls me 2 days after my father's death. Come to Ahmedabad for an interview with the Times of India. My aunt is sent with me because obviously we are in the mourning period. Again, what do? I go there. There is no one to interview me. So we get a little annoyed. What's happening? Why is this happening? We come back. And then another 3 days later, the HR calls me and tells me, come for an interview again. Last time there was a problem. I go again. The same thing happens again. But I write, this time I've had it. I've written a letter to the resident editor of the Times of India, not knowing how big that man was. And I wrote to him saying that Mr. Kingshuknag, that was his name. I came here on this day, you were not there. I came here on this day, you were not there. What if your father had passed away or your mother had passed away? All of that. I was all of 26, so you can imagine the anger. But I wrote what was true. I poured my heart out and I told them, I'll never read the Times of India ever again in my life. I'm a journalist for 23 years, by the way. We'll come to that later. I come back. Third phone call. Will you come to an interview for the Times of India? I said, no, I will not come. This is the way you treated me. And they tell me, if you come to Baroda, will you come? And then my mother says, okay, go. So I go there and he says, sorry. He offers me a job and I continue with the job and I started working for the Times of India. My letter that I'd written in anger became my CV without my knowledge. And that man had the grace to see more than the anger that the letter was showing. So I've been blessed with a mentor in my life like that, who could even take the anger and see something more out of it. And today I'm 23 years in the career, sitting in front of this beautiful audience. Can I doubt his judgment? I can't. Also, I met my husband at work. We married the next year and I had my child the other year. So that was also, I think it was destined to be. 5 years with the Times of India and 2 years with Femina. I could explore the world of people and I realized my love for people and their stories. With Femina, I could interview some of the most dynamic women in India. India's first woman photographer, Humayun Vyarawala. We could meet Captain Lakshmi Sehgal, who was part of the Indian National Army. These women have been a part of my life. I have interviewed Mahashweta Devi. There are many people who are no more. But I had the chance to meet, interact, be around these dynamic women. And that has shaped my perception of how people are and people should be. And each of these women have left their trace in my life, which I look up to when in moments of gloom. I think all of us do. Then we decided to move to Dubai. The first thing I wanted to interview M.F. Hussain because he had moved to Dubai. I met him. I just met him, happened to meet him. And the first thing when you see M.F. Hussain is you don't see his face. You see his feet because he doesn't wear footwear. And he knew that. So the moment I looked at his feet, he had painted them with, the nail paint was silver nail polish. And he said something very interesting. He said, Dubai is the Aladdin of the world. The world wishes and Dubai makes it happen. These words still ring true of the city that I come from, which is my home right now. Okay. There's one more thing that happened after that. After 3 years with them and with many coffee table books on the royal families, I moved to this glamorous film fair as editor, Film Fair Middle East as editor. Then life changed. But then what I learned in the middle, a journalist who was typing furiously behind a computer screen had to be now out in the open. I had to have a face to face the cameras, talk to people. Suddenly, you had to adapt. You had to dress up differently, not differently in your comfort zone, but be the face. You have to groom yourself better. You could be, nobody knows what a journalist looks like behind scenes when it's a print journalist. But if you are in front of the camera, everybody knows you. So learn to flow and be adaptable to change. It might be uncomfortable, but nothing grows out of comfort zones. It was a new world, and you could not be a fan. As a film journalist, you could never be a fan. You had to look at the stars in the eye and ask some questions and make sure that they respect you and you respect them. Nearly all films come to Dubai for promotions. So did the stars. He was speaking to a young trio of Alia Bhatt and Siddharth Malhotra and Varun Dhawan when they came for Student of the Year. I was also speaking to Nasir Saab, who had just completed his autobiography. He had come with Ismat Apa Ke Naam. You name it, and the stars I could interview, speak to. Priyanka Chopra speaking on Barfi. Anupam Kher talking about Kuch Bhi Ho Sakta Hai. Rockstar, when Ranbir Kapoor came for Rockstar, he charmed us. Shahid Kapoor became the first actor to host a press conference on the top of the Burj Khalifa. Tom Cruise happened later. So there's a history there. Amir Khan, Shah Rukh Khan broke his fast with 1 lakh people in a Dubai mall during Ramadan. Many things, meeting Amitabh Bachchan backstage at the Filmfare Awards, hosting SRK and Kajol for Filmfare 5, Irfan Khan, whose anniversary just passed, and me had a small altercation. We'll talk about it later. We had a small argument, but he's one of the most beloved people that we know in the industry who we lost recently. Also the memories of Dil Dhadakne Do, we have Ranveer Singh dancing with Anil Kapoor. Many star memories are there. But they do not all define me. There is more to life than just being, there's never a destination that you say, now I've reached, now this is all I'll do. There's always more to do. Meanwhile, Femina Middle East launched, and Sonam Kapoor came to launch the Femina magazine. And then I could meet a lot of Femina-related women from that space, which also included Sarah Harrington of the Harrington Post, who's written a book called Thrive, which is a very important part of what she felt, that life is to be lived, but it also has to be thrived upon. Okay, in 2017, something interesting happened. My ex-bosses ran away with all my money to India from Dubai. 2017, I lost my job, my position, my crown, my throne, everything. And I was suddenly left with nothing, suddenly. That is when I did the Dubai Women's Run. I got 30 women to run in red cotton handloom saris. I wrote a play called JLT. I brought Filmfare back with another sponsor in 2018, and Deepika Padukone came to launch my cover. I started the journey again in 2018, and the lessons learned: when in trouble, hustle harder. A verb is respected more than a noun. So be doing something. Just don't rest on your laurels and say, I've reached here, this is it. Keep moving. Then the stories restarted. Hrithik Roshan, just after war, told me how his success is sweeter today. Very shy Prabhas I met right after Bahubali. Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra and Madhavan did not enter a restaurant because I was in a sari and the restaurant didn't allow me to enter. They said, you will lead us. And we barged into the restaurant because there are certain rules about restaurants there. And after many successful shows, mega shows, cover launches, I thought I should move on. And when the dominoes whisper, listen. I trudged along till I could, and 2002, last year, I quit. I left a throne, I left a crown, and I said, no, I think I should do more things. And I started my own website, and I started my own talk show on YouTube, and I also started ideating on the events I believe in. So it was, I launched a restaurant, then I compiled a guest list for a jeweler. In April, I completed the Women in Cinema in the UAE event, and here I am at Shoolini University talking to this beautiful audience. There is a beautiful story of me coming to this university. For the last 2 years, I've shared it with some of my friends. For the last 2 years, I chant the Shoolini mantra, not knowing where Shoolini Devi lives, nothing. And this March, I was at the Manish Malhotra show in Bombay, and a friend of mine invited me to Shoolini University. And when I heard the name, I said, this is a sign I have to come. And I came in March for your Lit Fest, and here I am back talking to all of you. So I believe that there is divine intervention at every part of my life, right from my jobs to what I'm doing today. My life has brought me back to university life. I started out with teaching in universities. The second half of my life seems interesting because I feel that I'm getting sharpened for another purpose. I don't know what the purpose is, but I know it is there somewhere. There are many stories to tell. And one day, I aim to be an inspiring story that people tell each other. Thank you very much.